and then we need to respect that. I mean, even if, you know, I mean, even if you feel it's hard because, you know, you really have known someone as a female and then they start making a decision, going into this transition. And I think you need to just like, whatever is going on with you, it just doesn't matter. You know, I feel like you need to respect the other person's decision of like, okay, because I don't know what it's like to feel not okay in your body or to feel or not to identify with your sex at all, because I really enjoy being a woman. But I totally understand that if that's not the case, thank God you can actually change, you know?
Yeah. And all I ask of people that are challenged by these things is to just think about that feeling that they're having, that they're feeling challenged because their paradigm, a thing that they're used to, is being challenged. And that is hard, you know. But think about the person that is not choosing but having to break that system and challenge it and change to be able to be well and be themselves. Think about, like, if it's that challenging to you, think about how challenging it is for that person to make that transition and that's the thing. We become so kind of closed and in our own discomfort that we don't think about others and how and their struggle and how much of a fight it has been for that person to be themselves. I think it's interesting, like J.K. Rowling, the author of like Harry Potter and stuff, and she's known as like a TERF, which is like a trans what's it stand for? Trans exclusionary. There we go. Trans exclusionary radical feminist. And that's like, I'm a feminist, but I'm not a TERF. I'm not a trans exclusionary radical feminist, because it's that belief that you have to be born a woman to be a woman, and you can't know what it's like to be a woman. You're not born one, and all of that. And I think, like, if you think about that, like J.K. Rowling and the position of power that she's in, to kind of like be a role model, and why she would do that. The only thing that I can think to think of why she might promote that much hate is because of trauma. And she has been traumatized by patriarchy. She's been traumatized by men. And that has pushed her into extremist views, and that means she has hate. But the hate that she has, it's misplaced. She's putting it on people who are vulnerable,
and who don't deserve any of that anyway.
And she's not putting it on the real cause, which is kind of the patriarchy.
Well, and also, you know, she's in a position of power too, I think, right? Like, then on top of that, she's in a position of power and has a lot of money, and, you know, people respect her somehow for the work she's done or does, you know? I think it's a powerful position to be in.
But like how I always talk to people, I think there is no excuse for hate, and I don't want to make an excuse for anybody, but but I always try to connect into the reasons why somebody
the root of
work
it
that way, and I think because me hating her for that is just going to fester and bring hate to me. So I understand why she has that anger because of the patriarchy. It's misplaced. It doesn't make it okay, but it helps me to kind of to manage that, to understand why other humans can be like that to the beings, you know.
No, I mean, that's a really good point, and I think anybody listening should really, you know, take that in, because I think that is really important, because, you know, it's always good, like, we all have a story, we're all coming from somewhere, you know, and we always want to judge everybody like straight away, you know, and it's important to sort of, I mean, I feel it too sometimes where I'm like, did I just, like, I see someone and something pops in my head straight away, and I'm like, did I just that person in like the first second I saw them like cycling around? And it's not right, it's not right. It's important to go to the root of things and understanding where people are coming from, for sure. I do have a good question, I think, or I have a good question. I'm so good with questions. I have a question that I think is a good question, because I feel a lot of people have this question.
It'll be good.
Thanks. I was watching my dear friends Queer Eye. I'm a massive fan. Everybody watch Netflix. As you know, I'm obsessed.
Getting me through lockdown. I love it.
I'm obsessed with Jonathan Van Ness. Everybody should know Jonathan.
I can't handle the cooking bit though.
Sorry?
Can't handle the cooking bit.
No. This cooking is like there's finally a vegan now in the last season, thank God. But yes, Jonathan, I'm only watching for Jonathan. But what I thought was interesting, and this like the question was straight away rising with me. It's like Jonathan was saying, like, here we are in a car full of gays and a non-binary person. So would you say that if someone asks you, is non-binary in a sense like you are non-binary, and that also kind of like you no longer kind of identify as gay, or like what is going on there, like or how does that work?
Yes, I think it's the thing is with the thing that I learned about being non-binary was that I come from a place of privilege. Fundamentally, I'm a white cis man. Like I was born male. But I'm gay. You know. So I understand some of the kind of difficulties of being marginalized, but in no way do I understand, or like I can understand, but have felt the difficulties that the marginalized groups of people feel, and I think that initially made me like not feel like I was allowed to be non-binary. I kind of felt like I had a lot of guilt. And that made me kind of go, oh well, yeah. I didn't feel like I would be allowed to the table, and that's the thing. Like, often we can think of kind of communities of marginalized groups as being really welcoming, and quite often they're not, and people internalize their own hatred about things. And like I found that with the kind of gay male scene, I found there was a huge undercurrent of racism within that, and just down to even like terminology that people would use and think that was acceptable. And I felt guilt about identifying as non-binary. But then working with other people that are non-binary, they were just like, it's okay. You don't have to be like so kind of guarded and worried about these things. You can things can change as well, and you can experiment with your gender, and you can test things out. So for me, I kind of and the same with language. I think language is a beautiful thing that we can adapt and change.
Absolutely.
And so I identify as non-binary, but I also I'm attracted to men, predominantly. So sometimes I'll go, on the form I will tick gay, because that kind of that sometimes is what I am. But I could also, like, some of these kind of forms that you get asking you about all of your stuff, I could just tick all the boxes.
Yeah, exactly. And what does it really matter as well? You know, like in many cases, I feel, you know, having to explain yourself or your sexuality or what you know, or even, what you were saying, like your preferences and all the kind of stuff. I sometimes also feel like, what does it matter? We can have a great conversation together. It doesn't really matter, what your preferences are. Who cares?
And I think it's just really important to just always check your privilege with things.
Yeah,
because
totally. Check in.
There's a lot of opportunities that I've had. I have the luxury actually of identifying how I want to, and holding hands with somebody walking down the street in Brighton, because it's a very accepting place to live. But and also, like, It was because there's been so much in the press about Black Lives Matter, and the whole movement is taking off, which through kind of terrible, horrific beginnings, but it's so beautiful and just, I mean, amazing, the stuff that's been going. And like, just to hear kind of like mainstream media talking about like abolition of the police.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
just like,
it's
what?
Wonderful.
This is like a dream for me.
Yeah,
amazing.
Finally, we're finally there. It took 400 years, but we're finally there.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Like, I've learned so much over this past few weeks. It's maybe been thinking about my privilege, and I was one of those people when I was younger that said, "Oh, I don't see race. Like, I just love everyone." Thing, and I didn't realize how
disrespectful
that was. And like, I remember going to a gig with one of my friends who's a person of color, and she said, "Oh, I just feel really uncomfortable here, actually," because we'd gone to some rock gig, and I was like, "Why? I don't know why." And she was like, "Because I'm the only person of color in the room."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, what?" And I just said, "Oh, I didn't. Oh, to be honest, I just forgot." Yeah. And I thought like that was a nice thing to say.
Yeah, but
but it's not. I was denying her difference and her struggle.
Absolutely.
But the thing is with that is now I've said sorry. Like like years later. Oh, when I said
exactly
that,
when I said that. Yeah, totally.
And that's okay. And it's the same with like being non-binary. So many, like, even when I came out first as just being a gay man, and a lot of my friends said some really not great things, not some supportive things. But later on, they just went, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know, but I've read up about it. I've gone and educated myself."
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry that I use gay meaning stupid.
Education is so important. It's so important because the more we know, the more we change. And also, language is such important. Like you were saying, is such an important thing. Like I also felt for a while, I don't know if it was the same in England, but for a while in Australia, if something was like not nice, it was, "Oh, that's so gay." It's like, why are we using the term gay for this now? And it really annoyed me, because I was like, what is this? Like, oh my God, that's so gay. I don't want to go. Like, okay, I really don't understand what the hell that word is doing in that kind of sentence,
But
So
I was that young person in a northern town in England saying that.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's really gay."
Yeah.
And now and knowing the pain I was causing to myself, but it's this. That's the thing. It's putting your blinkers on. It's denial, and it's not acknowledging people for who they are, but that's the thing. You can correct it. You can apologize. You can learn. Educate yourself. It's not that hard. We've got this great thing called Google.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I shouldn't.
Especially these days now. Like, of course we can still not know things or not understand things or not have our it's like kind of like I don't really get it, but we can do so much to educate. And also I think sometimes it's about just reaching out to people and go like, I don't understand that. Explain it to me. And I think, and especially also, a source like Netflix with such great documentaries. I'm inspired all the time. Like documentaries like Disclosure is such an amazing one, and a series like Pose. I think when that that it's mainstream now to actually. And Pose I love so much because it's made by trans people. The actors are trans, the directors, the writers are trans, and it's just it's wonderful because I think there is still too much miseducation out there.
And what I love now is that it's a really good show.
Yeah, totally.
With characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's something that I'm seeing now is there's representation of like genuine kind of love between same-sex couples and things, rather than it being this kind of like kind of tragic storyline like trope that goes on and things. I was watching, I think it was called, like, Old Guard or something, some action film on Netflix. Yeah, not a great film. I recommend it, but it just had like a beautiful kind of gay relationship within it, but it wasn't the main point of the story. It was just just normalized. Like,
Yeah.
and that for me, I feel like the generation I've kind of come through a time when it really not okay. And